Got it.
All right. Rick Dow, how are you?
T. Hampton, I am doing fantastic. And you?
I'm awesome. So for those that are watching this and don't know you, who is Rick Dow?
Rick Dow is a ALC member up in Topsom, Maine. I've been doing real estate 6.5 years now. I started out as a dual career. I was a delivery driver for Oakers Dairy for the 12 years previous to this. Decided it was time for a change, and here we are living the dream as a real estate agent.
Cool. Very cool. So did you start at Keller Williams day one?
I have been. I've been with Keller Williams since day one. I knew Leanne and Dottie Bow prior to joining Keller Williams. My family had a home to sell, and it was Rick and Lori Bisson who reached out to me. Actually, I reached out to them and went out to lunch with Lori Bisson one day to talk real estate, and I signed up for real estate online that day. Actually, the day I met
Never
Lori.
looked back.
Never looked back.
Yeah. So tell me about those early days, your dual career. How long would you say you were dual career?
I was dual career for about 10 months. I got my license mid-August, signed on with Keller Williams. I had my first transaction closed the end of October, so I had a deal right away. Funny enough, the first buyers I met them at a listing, did my whole spiel, real estate. They walked away. I felt awesome. They started walking back towards the house. I'm like, oh crap, what did I do? And they walked in and said, actually, we want to make an offer on this house.
Nice.
And so my first client bought the first house they saw.
Okay.
And it was pretty awesome.
Was it your
They're not
listing?
all like that. They're not all
No,
like
definitely
that.
not. Was it your
No,
listing?
it was not my listing. It was actually Rick and Lori Bisson's listing. And these people had reached out, and Rick and Lori, knowing that I was starting out, referred them to me, and that was my first deal.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you did your first transaction. You are obviously proactive. So tell me a little bit about limiting beliefs around getting business and being proactive. Like, how did you manage that piece of it?
One of the first things I did when I started in real estate, reading, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and working your database, just being a people person, I was like, oh, I can do that. So, being able to talk to people a lot about real estate, there was a lot of behind the scenes research, trying to figure out how to use the Flex. We didn't have the Flex back then. It was something else. I forget what it was. Matrix.
Yeah.
Love the Matrix. And at that time, I think it was new to everybody, and people were losing their minds over it. And I was like, oh, this is kind of not that hard, but I didn't know anything else.
Right.
And so to me, it was just looking at a lot of real estate, and I loved that part of it. It was the having conversations with people. So one of the things that in productivity coaching, I had it with Tammy, was scripts and role playing. And she was like, oh, you need to come to scripts and role playing. And at that time, being dual career, I couldn't because of my schedule. I said, well, I can't get to the office until like 11 o'clock every day. And she literally stopped in the middle of doing everything to the people in the productivity room and said, okay, everybody, we're going to move scripts and role playing to 11 o'clock so Rick Dow can be here. And it was like, oh crap, no, I really actually have to go to scripts and role playing. That made the difference, actually, is going to scripts and role playing. It wasn't fun, but that's how you learn to talk to people about real estate.
Right. And a lot of people think when you look at scripts, you're following, you sound very scripted, and obviously you're following a script. But at this point, once you internalize those scripts, what was the conversation like? Was it
much easier? It was a lot easier. They have like a guideline or kind of like a format, and you just kind of modify it to make it sound like a conversation that you would have with a family member or a friend.
Right.
And that made all the difference in the world, is doing that.
What made you feel comfortable about month 10 jumping from dual career to going all in on real estate?
I had a lot of business happening. I was able to talk to a lot of people. I had a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I think at that point I had like 6 or 7 under contract at the same time. And it was just a balancing. I couldn't do both. I was getting a lot of phone calls while I was at my other job. And it was at that point, I knew it was either, sink or swim. And I just had to swim at that point. The other thing that I did right away, I took Bold right away. I think that Bold class started in October. And that was huge. I think going to that, a lot of stuff was kind of over my head, had no idea what people were talking about. That made a huge difference is going to Bold right away too.
Those 6 or 7 under contracts, where did that business come from?
My database.
Okay.
I want to say, some of them were people who I was delivering to. And then there were a lot of people who I knew that were renters that I just said, hey, now is a great time to buy real estate. Interest rates are at like 5%. You should buy a house right now.
What are they now?
Slightly lower. It was just a lot of conversations with my database. I would say in 6.5 years, probably 90% of my business is my database.
Yep.
People I know, or at least one person removed from somebody I know.
I hear from a lot of people, I don't want to work my database because I'm going to have real estate breath and they don't want to talk to me.
Not even. And that conversation is not like that. When I call or talk to people, it's more of a, hey, Tiffany, who do you know looking for real estate, whether to buy, sell, or invest? Because if it's you, you're going to say, oh, actually, I want real estate. I will actually tapping into your database to see who who needs help. And that way it doesn't sound like real estate breath. And the other thing is always coming from contribution. That was something I learned early as well is, asking people what they need for their life. Do you need a painter? Do you need an electrician? I have resources. These are connections to these people. What do you need? And when they ask what I need, well, I need a referral. I don't need somebody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate.
Yep. And obviously they like you, they know you, and they know how to refer you. Tell me a little about the know how to refer you. How did you share, if you know somebody that's thinking of real estate, this is what you do. What does that look like?
To me, it was, if you know somebody looking, can I get their information? Or here's my information, have them reach out to me. One thing that I try not to do is I'm not real pushy. I don't like to hound people. I'm all about kind of limited touches, the quarterly touches and the birthday touch and, maybe a few monthly emails, but I don't get real pushy with people. When it's their time, it's their time. And I have been known to actually talk people out of houses more than I talk people into houses, which I think goes a long way. People, I think when I'm out showing houses to people and I say, nope, this isn't it, they're very appreciative. And I think they definitely refer me because of that.
Absolutely.
I'll do that.
Because they know that you're going to do right by them and it's not just about the commission check.
Right. And I think they know I'm going to do right by their friends and family too. Yep. And that's how I get a lot of my business.
Yeah. Do you know approximately how many people are in your database?
I think in command, I have like 650, and on my cell phone, I probably have well over 1,500.
1,500? How many transactions did you do last year?
Last year, I did 35 transactions as a solo agent.
Okay. So a little bit of coaching here. Do you know all of those 1,500 people?
Probably not, no.
How many people do you think are in your database that you know?
Probably about 1,000.
Wow. So just a little bit coaching here. That could potentially be 150 transactions. I know you don't want to be that busy, but there's a great opportunity for referral money there, just saying.
Yeah. There was an exercise the last time we took Bold in person, and it talked about how many people you should be able to do the size of your database. And I think I was short by about 20 to 30 transactions at that point.
Yep.
And the exercise was that amount of money in your bank account. What would that do for your family?
Yep.
And it just kind of blew my mind that I need to just be better, do better.
Oh, yeah.
It's a work in progress.
We all need to do better and be better. I mean,
yeah.
Welcome to life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Constant, never-ending growth.
Every day.
Absolutely. If you met a new agent getting into business today, what would be the one piece of advice you would give them?
I would tell them to love on their database. It's the quickest and easiest way to generate business. And again, I think if you're coming from contribution and being authentic with them, people that know you, like you, love you, want to help you, and you want to help them, I think that is the easiest way to get things going. Like I said, my business is probably 90% database, or at least one person removed from my database, some sort of referral. Cold calling is great. You have to learn the skill. Circle prospecting is a great skill to learn. But if you want business quick, go to your database.
Absolutely.
Again, if you're coming from contribution, they're going to love it. It's going to make your job a lot easier.
Absolutely. So you worked for the man, we'll say, right?
Yeah.
And now you work for you and your family. What does that feel like? What does that look like? Like, what does that independence look like?
It depends on the day. It can definitely be a little nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I know it's all on me. I don't have to punch in with somebody. I don't have to punch out. I come and go as I please. But at the end of the day, I also know I have responsibilities. I have to do the work.
Yeah.
If I don't do the work, we don't get paychecks. And so there's that little bit of stress level to it. But again, if I work harder, I'm going to do better. And if I structure it right, I'm going to be able to take more time off. I don't have to ask permission for days off. I don't have to ask permission to pick up my daughter every day from school, which is probably the best part of my day. I don't have to coordinate that with anybody. It's on me. And that's the part I love about this.
Yeah. And I know you bought a camp this summer.
Yeah, we bought a camp up in Lincoln, which is about 2 hours north. It's our getaway.
And a new boat.
And the boat's on the way.
And you paid for your daughter's first year of college out of pocket?
In cash.
In cash.
Well, I guess it was a check, not really cash.
Is there cash anymore?
I don't think so.
Neither do I.
It's on the debit card.
Yeah. Do you feel that all of that would have been possible if you were working your business, your career?
I can say absolutely not. I think last year, 2 years ago, in 2020, when it was the beginning of COVID, I had my I made it moment when I got my dream vehicle. I know we're not supposed to be all materialistic, but I was able to buy the car I've always wanted. That never would have happened at my previous job. I never would have got there. But doing real estate and helping families, I was able to achieve that. And then this past year, got the camp, and the boat's on its way. I definitely would not have done that in my previous career, but real estate made that happen.
Absolutely. And taking the material side away from it, what's a family life look like?
So much better. Holy moly. Again, not having the stress of paying for college. We spend a lot of time together as a family, a lot of time off. It's been a lot better.
Absolutely.
We spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. And I know personally, you're able to actually make decisions to really make that happen. Is it time or money? Like, where am I putting my energy this month?
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily get to do that when you work for someone else.
Right. And that's, to me, the biggest part is, last summer, my wife had 2 summers ago, they ended up furloughing on Fridays. Every other Friday was a furlough Friday. And I immediately, kind of a little bit nervous about it. And I was like, hey, funny enough, I got furloughed on Fridays too. Who knew? So we were literally able to have 3-day weekends every weekend, but it was just the way I was able to set up my schedule. I didn't have to ask anyone for those Fridays off. I just locked myself out. And that was one of the things learning as a real estate agent. It's hard to say no to people. And the script to that is, I'm not available.
I have appointments.
I don't even say I have appointments. I'm just not available. I can do this day or I can do that day, but those days I'm just not available. They don't need to know that I was off camping or out on the boat. They don't need to know. All they need to know is I'm not available. I can do it here or I can do it there. And that works.
How many people have said no to that?
I can't think of any.
Right. Because you're not saying no, you're giving them other options.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's just it. And the saying no was always hard to start. I will say that. And then somebody else, probably somebody more senior than me, said, don't tell them no, just say, I'm not available, and give them two options. I can do here or I can do there, but I'm just not available.
Absolutely.
And it works.
So there's a bold law. It's simple, not easy. Talk to me about that.
It's simple, not easy is 100% it. I mean, there are just some things that you kind of get the struggle of it, but once you figure it out, it's not that difficult.
Right.
You know, you got to learn the systems. You know, you got to do the activities, do the systems. Again, it can be, don't overcomplicate it, I guess is the thing.
Yeah.
Almost dumb it down a little bit, and
Yeah.
it can be extremely easy.
Well, and you said the systems, right? The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book talks about models and systems. Like, how far do you deviate from those models and systems?
Not very.
Right.
You know, my deviation is probably the lack of support that I have. I don't have admin support. You know, I have showing assistants who help me with my showings, but I do all my own paperwork and every other part. I'm working with somebody else for some of my marketing, but for the most part, as a solo agent, I just find it's easier that way. But the systems are in place.
Absolutely. And that's a great point, right? You can be a solo agent, accomplish your goals, be satisfied with that, or you can bring on leverage and take it up the next notch. Pros and cons to both, and you choose what your business model looks like.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of Keller Williams is, you know, you let Keller Williams know what the goal is. They'll just show you how to get there.
Yeah.
You know, and constantly over the last 6.5 years, I've said, this is where my goal. And I've had support with Brad and you and Tammy to say, okay, well, this is how we're going to get there. And then just being held accountable to that, which is what I love.
Absolutely. Anything we didn't talk about that you'd want to share?
There's always somebody to talk to. You know, one of the things I love about Keller Williams is that when I'm having a bad day or coming up against something, there's always somebody who's going to pick up my phone call. And I think that's important to know that you're going to have support, because you don't have that everywhere in every field. But I know at Keller Williams, all it takes is a phone call and somebody will walk you through the system. And if they don't know the answer, they'll know for you to be in touch with.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things I love about this company is, you know, starting out, my first phone call was always to either Tammy or Lori Bisson. And if they didn't know the answer, they'd be like, let me get back to you on that.
Absolutely.
That's the best part.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tiff. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.